Okay, we are doing it today. Hello, everybody. This is Elisha Medlin with 5 Elements of Wholeness. And I am with Chantel Matthews. She is a certified mindset coach and founder of UNPAUSE HER, a program to help moms get out of feeling stuck and live with purpose. She believes that as mothers, we can be true to who we are and care for ourselves without sacrificing our families. Chantel has been married for 11 years and is a mom of 3, and she resides in Southern California. Welcome, Chantel. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you and your tribe today.
Yes, we are excited to have you here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and have you introduce your topic.
So I will go ahead and share the screen with you. And I am just excited to be here to talk about such an important topic, especially for women and for mothers that feel like they've sort of lost themselves and they don't know how to tap into their true authenticity, their divine identity. And the energy inside of them sort of, to me, feels like, like frantic, chaotic, like not knowing where to go, what to do. And I trust that as we all tap into our divine identity, our true authenticity, our true nature, that chaotic energy will just start to calm, and we'll feel this like sense of alignment. I sort of see it like this, like alignment and wholeness within us that just branches out to everyone around us. And I say, is your authentic self in hiding? Because I do think that some of us do know who we are. We do know our true authenticity, but we like to keep that hidden. And maybe that's because when we have shown up in our true self, we've been rejected, or we feel shame, or something has happened that makes us shield and hide and just keep it within. And so I just trust, like I said, that as we tap into that, we will bring forth some wholeness to ourselves and to our families. The silent struggle of I don't know who I am. I want to read something. She's struggling to find herself. Someone help her. Who is this woman? I do not know her, for she is not me. Where is myself? She's trapped beneath the surface of this facade. Someone, please wake her. I need her. Ooh, I have to take a breath after that, because that was actually word for word out of my own personal journal 4 years ago. And so I know what it feels like to be in the pit of that silent struggle of I don't know who I am. And a little backstory about me: I got married at 19, and it was a fast engagement. And within 6 months, we got pregnant. And within the first 6 years of marriage, it was like 3 babies, a miscarriage, and we even put my husband through the police academy because it just wasn't working out with him applying to so many, that we were like, okay, we're gonna put him through. And that was such a sacrifice because we had to pay for that, thousands of dollars. It was 6 months without any pay and no guarantee of a job. So it was just, needless to say, there was just a lot of movement and a lot of like, whoa, like everything moving at a fast pace in such a short amount of time. And I just felt like I wasn't, like I was trying to fit in this box. And I say the word trying because that's what it felt like, was this energy of running and running and running and feeling like I'm going nowhere. And looking back now, I just realized that that was because I wasn't showing up as me in my home, in the community. And I can even remember being at the park with like a group of ladies, and we're talking about strollers and like things like that. And afterwards I was thinking, like, is that all there is? Like, it just felt weird to me because I wanted to dive deeper into conversation and it just was like at the surface.
Yeah, it was
And
like total. I understand. I can totally relate to that. It's like that superficial conversations that have no meaning, no meat to it. No, like you don't walk away feeling better or having another person feel better. You just like, really? That's all?
yeah,
So
I'm
I
looking
totally
around
get
like,
that.
huh? Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I had this idea of what a stay-at-home mom and wife should look like, right? We all have that idea in our head, and I was trying to fit in that box, but it was like something just felt off. And what ended up happening is because I wasn't being true to me, I ended up like acting out of character and sort of looking outside for who I was instead of inside and to my Heavenly Father. And that led me to that looking outside and stuff led me to a pretty dark depression and honestly almost the destruction of my marriage. And it was like the words from my journal, the I do like let her awaken were like screaming inside of me at that point. And it was like, Chantel, wake the freak up, like tap into who you truly are and let's live. Let's live our purpose. And so if that is you listening and you're in that silent struggle right now, I just want you to know that you don't have to stay there. And there is a way out of that pit. So I want everyone listening to just do like a check in with yourself of where you're at in your personal authenticity. And do you feel a sense of fulfillment? And if you don't, if the answer is no, maybe it's because you're not tapping into your true self, your true authenticity, and divine identity. So it's really just a great question to ponder.
And Chantal, I have a question for you on that.
Yeah.
How does one know what is authentic?
Yeah.
The reason why I ask that is because I remember as I was going through my growth and my experience, and I would hear that word all the time, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like,
Right.
I'm living my life. I'm doing the best I can. Why isn't that authentic? Like, what
Mm.
would you describe authenticity or divine authenticity?
Yeah. So I see it as like what it's not, first of all, is that feeling, like I said, of trying to fit in the box and yet it still feels off. Like as women, we have that intuition within ourselves, like, mm, something's not right here. And and I'm going to go through that a little bit in other slides, but when we start to really dig deep into ourselves and ask some powerful questions to ourselves, we can start to let that true nature out. So it's the uneasiness, that feeling that comes up when you are living the life and doing fine, right? Doing fine, and it's just still this sense of like uneasiness, that constant trying. But I will go through some tools to help women get clear on how to tap into that. So, how to embrace your authentic self without second guessing. So, in other words, inhaling who you are and exhaling who you.
Chantal, if you can hear me, I've lost you. So we get to take a pause for a minute and let her get back on. We are having internet issues today, so just bear with us. I'm in the middle of a storm right now, and she's in Southern California with some internet issues on her end. So if you have questions though, or if you have any comments, we'd love for you to put them in the comments below, and we can answer them for you. We can answer those questions and respond to those comments. And just so that you know, authenticity is an amazing topic. And as Chantel's going to go deeper in, take a moment and get a piece of paper and a pencil if you haven't already done so. And just take some notes and write down those questions that she said, like check in with yourself. Where are you in your authenticity? And do you know what authenticity is? Do you know what your divine authenticity is? And when she gets back on here, then she can share with you some more questions. But just stop, as we're waiting for her to come on, just take a moment and ponder on those questions and ponder what that looks like for you, and being able to step forward in your truth and step forward in your, in your divinity, in your authenticity. She says that she's going to get back on. She's just having issues. So we get to just be patient for a minute. But I know in my journey of authenticity, it has been one that has created a lot of interesting developments and growth within me. And I hope the same for you. All right, here she is. She's back on now. Maybe. Here we go. There we go. She's back. Yay.
There we go.
Love technology.
I think having all the kids home, everybody at one time on the internet, makes it a little funky. So I apologize. Let me go ahead and share the screen again.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, right back to it. The problem is we keep saying, I don't know who I am, instead of discovering and asking those powerful questions to yourself and to your Heavenly Father. It's up to you to become awake to who you are, whoever that may be. Let her awaken.
So can we just take a moment and just, I love that phrase. Can you go back to that screen that you were just at?
Sure.
And I love that phrase right here. It says, it's up to you to become awake to who you are. That's profound, because I think there's so many of us who want somebody to come in and rescue us. I know I was one, right? They just want to come in and have somebody come in and tell us exactly what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And but when you have to take accountability for your stuff, that's when the magic happens. That's when the shifting and the changing really takes place and creates that that step into your divine authenticity.
I truly agree with that. It's like when my husband and I were, at that, like, might separate, maybe divorce, and a part of me did want something to just save it. But it was like something in me said, it's got to be you. Like, it starts with you, and it's my job to let her awaken. Like, it's my job to unleash my true self.
Yes, exactly. I just love that. I just wanted to reiterate that because it's so important. That is like the magic sauce to divine authenticity right there.
Yes. And when we are being authentic, all parts of us get to exist. The fierce, the bold, the shy, like all of the parts of us get to exist. And I want you to think about the person that you feel like knows you the best and why. And I bet it's because something along the lines of you feel like you can be yourself around that person. Like you are showing them a side of you that you are hiding from everyone else. And so how do we get to that point where we are showing up in the world in that way, how we show up to that person who knows us the best? And when I did this exercise myself, it really was eye-opening. Like, wow, I have hidden my true self from so many people, and I'm not really being true to who I am to everyone. And it's just a few people. So I loved being able to recognize that and start to change that. Start to embrace who you are by getting curious and creative. Those are the two words that came to my mind when I thought about like self-discovery and how to actually do that. Like you were asking before, like, well, what does it mean and how do I actually get there? And by being curious is discovering in neutrality. So without that like judgment and fear, and just mainly staying curious and asking questions like, what would this week look like if I was 5% more authentic? What would I be doing? What would I be wearing? Maybe it's red lipstick and you can't really tell, but a sparkly shirt. Like, those are the questions that you want to ask yourself. What does the space around you look like if you are 5 to 10% more authentic this week? And creative side, I really do think as we tap into our creativity, because we were born to create, we were made to create things, and it looks different for each person. And as we tap into that creative energy, our true nature will start to unfold. And I can remember being in college and I was presenting something and I kept apologizing. I'm sorry, I'm not that creative, but blah, blah, blah. And my professor stopped me and was like, Chantel, you realize you are being creative. You're just doing it in your way. Like it doesn't have to look like a painting or a drawing, although it could. And so that just stuck with me always, like showing up in my way is so important.
It is. I totally agree to that. I'm like you know, I used to say all the time, I'm not creative. I'm not as creative as my mom. I can't draw like my mom. I'm not the artist like my mom. And so I would shut down all creativity because I didn't match that expectation or that box of I don't look like my mom, or I don't create like my mom, or I don't like, I would compare myself all the time to that. And it, when I was stepping into my divine authenticity as well, I realized that my creative ability is all about producing and building. And that looks very different to, you know, most people out there. Like my idea of building is, you know, if I get stuck in a program that I'm creating, I go and start drafting out homes, because what that does, it opens up my brain, and then I can start seeing the different levels that needs to be you know, put into the program to create that structure and create that yummy home feeling, right, in my programs.
Yes.
And that's my space of creativity. But you know, like maybe somebody else's space of creativity is, you know, going for a run or exercising or working out, or maybe it's, you know, nutritional eating. Like it can be in so many different ways. When we think of creative, I think so many times we limit ourselves to the belief of something that's artsy
Yes.
or pretty, or you know, where we use glue guns and you know, ribbons. Like it's
Uh-huh.
more than that. There's so much more to the creativity than just what our brain puts that into that simple box, where we get to break through that box and see all the possibilities and options.
So true. Yeah, and I like how you said that. We limit ourselves in the thinking and then what? Shut it all down. And when we do that, especially as women, because I know that each of us have that creative energy and nature inside of us. When we shut that down, we are shutting down a part of ourself. So that's why I feel like getting creative will start tapping into that and bringing her out again. And another thing is just trusting in you, because how can we really embrace who we are if we are not trusting in ourselves to do that? So, how can we even trust ourselves? And one of the things is stillness. And we hear it all the time, and we think we're doing it, sitting without noise but scrolling on Instagram is not necessarily my definition of stillness. I am talking about pure stillness all around. And I know some moms are like, I don't got time for that. Like, there's so much going on, especially because everyone's at home. But what would it look like for us to just dedicate 2 to 5 minutes of complete stillness to ask those powerful questions to ourselves, to our Heavenly Father, and actually feel what's happening within as we are asking those? So, that is an important step and something that we can start doing today to start tapping into our divine identity, our true authenticity. And I heard this phrase, courageous listening, actually from someone higher up in the Target Corporation, which was awesome. I randomly came across a speech, and she said, it takes more than just listening, it takes courageous listening to trust in yourself. In other words, we're not just being there to be there, but we are actually going to take that next step and act on the things that we are hearing and feeling for ourselves. So I just wanted to add that phrase in there. Courageous listening is a part of trusting. And then this part of evolving is surrendering. I want to talk about this because I don't think a lot of people do touch on this as we talk about, going on that journey of self-discovery. It can feel like that, like that picture where you're like, yes, this like is starting to feel amazing, and you are, surrendering some of those and breaking old patterns and old routines that weren't serving you or weren't true to you, and you're sort of becoming new. But sometimes it feels like while you're on that journey and it feels good, you're climbing this mountain and it's warm and you're like smiling and you're proud of yourself. But then you look around and you're like, it's just me on this mountain. So it feels a little lone. If this is you right now on your journey, I want to remind you that you, for one, are never alone if you just look up, right? And for two, that lone feeling, and I talked about this with my coaches in the past, that lone feeling does not signal anything bad. That's actually signaling that you are evolving, that you are shedding that old and becoming new, and that you are not requiring the validation of others around you to start taking those steps on the mountain. So if this is you, I just want you to know that it's normal to feel that, and it does not signal bad, and you are truly never alone in that process. I feel like I got to discover all of that on my own, and I'm on the mountain looking around like, wait, is this normal to feel like this? So I just wanted
Yes,
to add that in
absolutely.
there.
I just want to validate that.
Yes.
It is absolutely, especially, and it can be alone. I mean, even if you don't have the negative like I did in my situation where it was like, there's something wrong with you. You're messed up. You're on the wrong track. You're following the devil. You're the like all the time. And that part of it can be super like you're questioning yourself all the time. Like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And that's where being able to open up that conduit to receive that direct divine direction and inspiration is so valid, because one thing I did know always is that God trumps all. And those inspirational things that I received, I knew where they came from, and so that trumped all the other crap out there. But to surrender the other crap like this, like to
Yes.
surrender that is hard, because
Yes.
you're just going, ooh, am I on the right track? Like, this is a lonely road. It is a lonely road, but it isn't you're not alone on the lonely road. Does that make sense? Like,
Exactly.
it's a lonely road, but you're not alone on the road, because the people that
Correct.
are with you are the ones that are moving forward too. You don't want to be on the road where everyone is micromanaging and controlling and judging you, because that's not empowering, and that doesn't grow you.
Right. And you're going, it feels a little weird. It feels a little off because maybe the old people that knew you a certain way are no longer like on that same journey with you. And so it does feel a little off, like you were saying, lone, but never really alone. And I just really felt like that was important to mention to people as they are on that mountain. And the last slide here is from a book I just recently finished called Wonder Over Worry. Will you keep putting off the journey of uncovering who you truly are, or will you jump in and begin? Will you just sit in that listening, in that stillness, or will you have that courageous listening and start taking those steps up the mountain with trusting? I just think that is so, so important to not just listen, but to also jump in and start asking those questions and trusting.
I love that. And is it okay if I just add something about trusting yourself?
Absolutely.
I know for myself, I was in a very, very dark place when I started my journey, and I got to step into just trusting my learning how to trust myself by looking at, look, my body can breathe. I can trust
Mm.
that. My eyes can see. I can trust that. I can, talk. I can trust that. Like, I had to slowly take it little bits by little bits of things that I was already doing that I knew I could trust, to give myself enough evidence to be able to trust what was coming in through divine connection. And I think that's another thing too, is, I know that there's some women out there that are like, well, how do you even trust yourself? What does that
Yeah.
even look like? And it looks like, well, you already are trusting yourself. You're just not acknowledging it. You're not allowing yourself to believe what you're already doing. Like, your body already knows how to heal. Your body already knows how to breathe. Your heart already knows how to beat. It already knows how to do this. Are you willing to trust it?
Right.
And trusting it, well, you have evidence to trust it because you're alive, right?
Yes.
And so I just wanted to put that in there, because sometimes it starts with something that simple, that
Right.
small, to be able to build upon, because you need something there that you can build on, something solid. And proof that your body is working is pretty solid.
Yes, it is.
And then you can
And
build upon that.
doesn't it always start with those simple things? It
Yes.
it really does. It takes us back to the basics of, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to look like this grandiose plan. It can look with starting with 2 minutes in stillness and asking two powerful questions of what is my purpose, and just thinking on that and pondering, and it starts there. It starts
Mm-hmm.
with those simple things. So I love that you said that.
Yes, it's so true. And I think another part of that too is we get in our own way, we get in our own head, because we set these expectations and these conditions instead of setting agreements. That's
Mm.
one of the things that your mentor and my mentor, April Rose, was really good at teaching, is like, it's not about expectations or conditions, it's about agreements. What are you willing to set with your body that is an agreement with your mind, with your heart, with your spirit, that you can agree to, that doesn't require this pressure of expectation? And that will also help you step into trusting yourself and being able to follow through, because when we have those stupid expectations, right,
Yeah.
that are up here, we sit there and we're hustling to get there, and when we don't meet the mark, we go and spiral down. Where if we have an
Exactly.
agreement, like, this is my agreement, I'm going to do A, B, and C, or I'm going to do A and then I'll do B, And then we can get there. And that's where we go, oh, look, I just set that agreement and I completed that agreement. And there was no pressure to it. And I think that's how we can get out of our head and step into, you know, that trusting element.
Yeah. And it's that it almost like takes out the judgment when it's an agreement and not an expectation.
It does. It totally
Oh,
takes
no.
out that judgment. God. Yes. Just seeing if we have any questions yet. And just so that you know, if you do have questions, please put it in the comments. If you see this live or if you watch this recording later, still put the questions in it and we'll come back and answer them for you as well. So, oh, we lost Chantel again. We love the internet today. It's been awesome. There we go.
Yay!
Yay, we're back.
Awesome. Yeah, but it's so true with that. I'm so glad you mentioned the setting agreements and not expectations to get to that point of trusting.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of a Brene Brown quote. Of course, a lot of us have heard about her. I choose to remember it. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we should be and embracing who we are.
Yes.
And I just love that quote. I feel like it ties in so perfectly. And I love that she said daily practice. That it's
and it's the daily imperfect practice. I want to emphasize that because I know a lot of us women out there, we have this mentality of perfectionism. Like we got to have it all just right and then I can do it. It's like, no. Step out of that and choose to just take imperfect action daily, no matter what that looks like, because that's still moving you forward.
Right. That sort of, this feels true to me, so I'm going to take this next step. And that's that baby steps and forgive if it's not exact, like it's a little shaky.
Right.
And that's okay, because that's all part of the journey.
It's so true. It is. So Chantel, what would you say was your, what were some of the hardest things roadblocks that you encountered on your journey to discovering your divine authenticity? Like by unleashing that, like really bringing her out, what got in the way for you? And what did you do about it?
Yeah. I think that for one, like we touched on, that lone feeling was keeping me from, I was like looking around, like taking these steps, like, is this right? Like that second guessing and doubting and feeling like that lone feeling is a negative thing. So not really moving forward. And I think that doubt just creeps in and sometimes it just takes over.
Yeah. And then how did you recognize it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it your mentor or were you able to actually see it?
I could see it, but having a mentor sort of like brings that out of you to say what's real and to really get deep into what the actual facts about it are. And, that it doesn't signal bad and relationships change, and that's okay. And as you go on this journey, you will open up to other relationships. Like I am now connected to you, and that's awesome. And so you start to open your horizons a little bit. And yes, it does feel a little uncomfortable at first, but that doesn't mean bad.
I want to emphasize that too. Uncomfortable does not mean bad. Right. I remember when I started with my very, very first mentor, and I would say, oh, this doesn't feel good. Like, maybe I'm not on the right track, because shouldn't it feel good if I'm doing what God wants me to do? Like, shouldn't that feel good? And one of the biggest things she told me, and I'll never forget it, is doing your inner work will always be uncomfortable. So get used to being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because doing your inner work, the only way that God can step in and help you grow is in the uncomfortable. He never sits in the comfortable seat, ever.
Right. And there's this fear fear is a huge thing also that set me back a little bit from taking those next steps along the journey, or it took me a while to get there. Having fear is normal and it's okay. And it's when you're courageous, it means that you've just pushed past that fear. And you can only be courageous when you do that. So
Mm-hmm.
fear presenting itself is actually signaling to me like, huh, this thing is important. And I'm a little afraid about it, but I'm going to be courageous and take that next step. Way easier said than done
Oh yeah.
sometimes. Yes. Like to for Unpause Her, for the program, I started this book and it felt like a week by week book. And I could feel inside of me like, this is really a program. This is not something that I just want to put out there for women to figure out. Like, I want to be on that journey with them. And I could feel that, like, you can feel it in your tummy. You can just like, I
Mm-hmm.
could feel it on everything, but it was hard to break out of that fear box and actually make it happen. And I'm so glad that I did.
Well, yeah, and the fear box is like it comes with all of those what ifs, right? Like, what if they don't like it? What if it's not successful? What if they don't?
Yes.
What if nobody buys my program? What if everyone hates it? Blah 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 blah, right? So we have all of these naysayers going on in our head, and I had another mentor that once said, you know, when those negative thoughts come up or those negative words come up, it lets you know that you're totally on the right track.
Ooh,
Because
I
like,
love that.
why would the adversary not fight against you if you're on the right track?
Right.
Like, why not? He doesn't want
Yeah.
you to succeed. So of course he's going to send every negative thought, and if he can't get to you in your head, guess who else he's going to send? Your family members. If they can't get to family members, it'll be clients. It'll be, I mean, it's amazing how that shows up. And I remember in one time in particular, like I had just got out of this mindset of authority. Like I realized that I was putting people that I didn't need to have in my authority seat. Like the only
Yes.
people in my authority seat is my Heavenly Father and my Savior. Like that's it. But I
Mhm.
had put other people there, and I realized that. So I took them out, and I started moving forward. I was feeling really good about things, and all of a sudden I got bombarded with just all of this garbage, not on the inside of my head, but from my family, about
Ah,
how I was on the wrong track. I was sending the person down the wrong road, blah, 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 blah. And I was able to sit there and go, holy cow, man, I really must be on the right track to even have like that, my own family coming out to get me.
mhm.
That must merely mean that I am showing up in the way that I'm supposed to be showing up. But so many times we see that and go, oh, I'm in the wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. This is
Yeah.
wrong. You know, maybe they're right and I'm wrong. And so that's exactly what the adversary wants us to do, is to go away and step out of our divinity, step out of our authenticity, our birthright, and live below our potential. And so
Yeah.
I love that you're coming out with this program of like, I'm pausing it. Like seriously, like
Uh-huh.
get
Yes.
yourself on pause and move yourself forward and do
Yes.
what you committed to do when you came to this earth.
And it is hard to do that. It is, and it's so human of us to have those thoughts, not saying that those thoughts never creep in, but you do get to that place, like you said, where you just have so much like trust in who you are, and you are understanding your divine identity and your role and your purpose, and you're living it, and those thoughts don't necessarily crush your
Right.
system how they used to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago, if somebody would have been saying all of those things, it probably would have had me in bed for days and days and days. And, you know, and it's just like those reps, building that strength and courage muscle daily. And
Exactly.
in order to do that, they have to come in at
That's
some
true.
point, right?
Yeah. And you can't hide from them. I mean, you can
No.
try to pretend to hide from all you want, but then they become worse and bigger. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I work with my clients on is, you know, if you ignore the negative doesn't go away. It just compounds.
Mm.
But if you face the negative, then they can dissolve and go away, because you're taking the courage and you're putting light on the darkness instead of pretending that the darkness doesn't exist.
Oh my gosh, so true.
And that is what is going to move you forward. And even finding more trust in yourself, finding more stillness within yourself, you know, because a lot of times when we start that stillness, we hear those and we're like,
oh yeah,
I gotta get doing something. I gotta move. I gotta do something, right? And so we freak out because we don't want to look at it because it feels so yucky. But yet, if we took that stillness with the courage and face it and said, I don't want this. I don't like this. This is not myself. This is not my truth. This is not me. Light and truth, and reiterating that truth within ourselves creates that trust and that ability to really step forward, like you're saying, you know, in your divine authenticity.
Yeah, and I can recognize that feeling because, like I said, I've had it of hiding your authentic self, and it just, if it stays there for too long, I know in my experience, it just led me down that path of, you know, to a depression because I wasn't being true to me. And so gaining that clarity and taking those baby steps of stillness and listening, what it would look like for you to start that process is so huge for especially women, and for mothers that I know in my program, there's women that do feel like they've been erased, you know, they don't really know who they are outside of motherhood, but they just let it stay there. And so that's why the program kind of allows them to ask those questions and start implementing courageous listening to start taking that step.
Yes, courageous listening. I have never heard that before, but I think I'm gonna adopt that in my languaging as well, because I love that. It's, you know, it does take courage. It takes so much courage. I often tell my clients that the easiest thing that you'll ever do is inner work, but it's also the hardest thing you'll ever do.
100%. I love that.
I mean, it's the principle are easy. The concepts are easy. It's the application that's the hard thing to do. And that's where the you know, the, what do you call it? Nature, the I forget the word. Oh my gosh. Anyway, our innate human part of us that wants, that's an enemy to God, that natural man, there we go, couldn't think of how to put it together. The natural man in us wants it to be easy and wants a quick fix pill and wants it to all go away and be complete and finished and all happy and tied up in a ribbon. And that isn't what inner work is all about. Inner work requires digging deep and getting dirty, having those ugly cries, screaming and crying, and then we move on and we forgive and we step forward and we change, literally change from the inside out. So we lost Chantel again. I love this. This is so much fun. But again, if you guys have questions, please put it in the comments. We want to answer any questions that you have. If you are interested in her program, she's going to, if she can get back on, she's going to promote it and she's going to share how you guys can get onto it so that you guys can be a part of her amazing program of UNPAUSE Her. And I think you guys will really enjoy her as a mentor, as an inspiration, and she does great work. I've watched her for a while now. You know, she was mentored by my mentor, so I know that what she does and what she teaches is exactly going to create the results that you're looking for. All right, there we go. Yay, we got her back on. So I was just telling everybody that you are, you have a program, which we've been talking about, the UNPAUSE Her. And I just want you to go into a little bit more detail on that and share how people can get a hold of you and get involved in that. And, you know, be able to just go over whatever details you want to go over on that.
Sure, yes. So UNPAUSE Her is an 8-week program designed specifically for moms that feel like they are stuck, like they have lost themselves and they're not really sure where to turn for that. And so each week we dive deep into discovering you and pulling her out, and so many tools are being shared during that time and support. So you can go to unpauseher.com for more information. My next group will be February. So it'll come up here shortly. And anyone that mentions this Zoom meeting and how much I went in and out of it will get a discount for that. So you can do that, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram.
Awesome. Can they also message you through Messenger?
Absolutely. Yes.
Great. Yes. I haven't done your program, but I have watched how you've impacted people through your Facebook group and through your Facebook lives. And I just think it's amazing what you do and what you offer. I myself also have a program that's called, or not a program, but a free, my goodness, my mouth's not working. A free tool. There we go. It's a powerful tool to help all of you to be able to find out what's really keeping you stuck. It's an assessment you go through, you find a goal and fill out the assessment, submit it, and we create a personalized roadmap for you on what is needed for you to clean up what's in the way of you really stepping into your truth and being able to look at the different things that needs to be cleaned up within your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and energetic aspects. So we will put both of those links in the description. So feel free to go there. And I highly, highly recommend Chantel. She's an amazing woman. She's been trained by amazing women. And you'll just be able to be so inspired. And, if you feel that call, if you feel that pull, take action on it, because, we talk about a lot of the same things, but the way I do it shows up differently than what she does it. And let that spirit guide you to what's going to work the best for you in your circumstance and in your world. And I hope as many people as you can get there, because I think what she has to do is so awesome. So
thank you.
Anyway, like I said, if you have questions, leave them in the comments and we will get back to them sooner, later, one of the two, as soon as we can, right?
Yes.
All right, Chantel, did you have any last things that you'd like to share with us?
No, I really loved our conversation. I know we were kind of in and out due to some technical difficulties, but I really think that these conversations are so important and powerful. And it also makes other women know that they're not alone on their journey. And some of these feelings, that silent struggle, some of these are just so normal. And so many of us have experienced them, and you don't have to stay in that space. You don't have to sit in that stuckness.
Yeah, that yuckiness.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not fun. I've been there. She's been there. It's not a fun place to be. And if we can help pull you out, then take our hands and let's go, because we are on a mission to, I know, I can't speak for her, but from what I've noticed and what I see is that we're on a mission to help as many women as we possibly can to step into the truth of who they are, so that they can turn to God, step into their mission and purpose, and really be the instrument that God needs so that they can become divine queens of rare faith. And I just want to thank Chantel so much for coming on today and for sharing her message and about divine authenticity. It's been awesome. It's been fun. And again, if you have questions, please leave comments. And if you'd like to go into her program, click on the link. It'll be awesome.
Yes.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.